Hi empaths, welcome back to my healing space and back to another intuitive session, integrating the archetypes. I'm going to clear this space, the cards, our auras, invoking angels, guides, compassionate ancestors, any beings of the light who want to inform this reading for the most concise, accurate, timely, resonant, helpful, supportive information to flow through. That's priority for the listener to hear at the time of watching this video. Nice. Going right to the archetype cards by Carolyn Neese to see what aspect of self, okay, it's already popped out. Queen, owning our inner queen, whether you're male, female, non-binary, gender fluid, whatever you identify as, we're looking at inner queen. The light attributes radiates the regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others, and the shadow attributes becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling and demanding. So looks like putting some entitlement into check, right? Putting some sense of entitlement in check and owning our power, owning our inner authority. And perhaps strengthening that sense of inner self-respect, right? That inner sense of integrity, alignment to our values, and upholding them. Being a leader in that way, right? Let's go to some oracle cards and see what exactly do we need to do to further integrate the queen, support that energy. So the first card that's coming out is heart-to-heart conversations. So maybe this is about a willingness to speak our boundaries, a willingness to say no. Helps us trust ourselves and others to trust us, right? When they sense that we have limits and we own them, we accept them. It allows us to accept them in others as well. And maybe it's coming from a heart-centered space, right? Because sometimes what happens is if we've experienced trauma, or if we had the perception or the actual experience of love being taken away anytime we had needs, or feelings as a child, right? Emotions. If we were punished with pushing energy or abandonment from a caregiver, we have a lot of conflict around expressing our needs as adults in relationship, unless we've really looked at it and healed it. So there's part of us that maybe needs to mature into the feminine, right? Mature into the queen, the master of that, right? Of that experience, that feminine experience. Which we all have, right? No matter your gender, we all have that connection to femininity. So being willing to be vulnerable and express, knowing who to trust might be important too. I did a video about the anatomy of trust on here. Brene Brown's research on this channel. I'll connect it. I'll link it in the description if I remember. Or you can look on this channel. Anatomy of trust. Learning to trust. What are the building blocks of trust? Learning who we can open up to. Because maybe we've also been conditioned to shut down because we haven't trusted the proper people, right? Maybe we kept getting the message, well, they mean well, right? Meanwhile, it's a toxic person that proves over and over again they're untrustworthy, but we think because they don't have ill intent, I'm going to keep putting my well-being in their hands. We have to end that cycle and start taking ourselves more seriously, right? Kindness starts with ourselves. And we have to own that inner queen, knowing that I need to know when I'm safe to share, right? When it's a safe space. Maybe we haven't been discerning about that and we lost some self-trust. And maybe self-care is in order here. Do you have an upcoming holiday, vacation, trip planned to rejuvenate, to re-inspire you on your path? The answer you're looking for can be found during a vacation, retreat, or a holiday getaway. And maybe it is a sign to retreat, right? To retreat from those connections that are harmful, that you keep getting burned over and over again, or people dump on you and then leave. And it's just imbalanced. You're being called to take yourself more seriously here with the Queen. Yes, I'm a great confidant. Yes, I give great advice and wisdom. I have attributes to be admired and looked up to, but not everyone gets access. The Queen is on her throne, in her palace, protected by a moat, right? That can represent our energetic boundaries. So, are we caring for self in a proper way? Also, what are we attracting in? Are we attracting in people that show us disrespect? Are we attracting in experiences to teach us to speak up? Do you feel slighted? Do you feel disempowered? Do you feel you're giving more? Right? Because the feminine is also about receptivity. You might also find that the number one quality that is attractive is confidence, right? That's the number one quality. Confidence of a queen. The Queen is very confident, right? That's the number one most attractive quality. What's the second? Authenticity, right? Owning our insecurities, owning our vulnerabilities. Those are the those are the top two most attractive traits. Someone who's confident, but we have this idea that we need to be fake confident, right? That I need to be confident about everything, and if I'm not, I just pretend I am. Well, that can, people can sense when we're being disingenuous. So it's okay to have insecurities. We all do. It's okay to acknowledge your weaknesses and accept them in yourself, right? And share them with people that you trust to be in your inner circle. Makes you much more attractive, right? When someone accepts themselves, both the qualities that they deem good and the ones they deem not so attractive, not so admirable, it makes them more, you just feel so good around them, right? It helps build trust because you can sense they trust themselves. And they can be at ease in in social situations. They just feel at ease, and it makes you feel at ease. And then the card Builder is coming up. Builder. Your innate ability to build and create brings you a deep sense of accomplishment. This might be about building a creative project, something about something creative, but this also might be about relationship. There is a relationship coach named Matthew Hussey who always talks about finding another builder, right? So that might also be another reason this is coming in. Maybe the issue isn't in relationship that you're not attractive enough. Maybe it's just that you're not choosing other builders, right? It takes two builders to create. He uses the analogy, the metaphor of a relationship is like building a castle. Interesting, right? That we're looking at a queen. A relationship is about building a castle, and sometimes, and so that requires engagement, commitment, someone to show up. We're attracting in people. He delivers it very well. It's very well thought out. We attract in people who call us once in a while, right? They call in once in a while. It's like, how's the building going? And we're doing it all ourselves. So getting in touch with the femininity is also about sitting on our throne and receiving and saying yes or no. So are we being discerning about who we, because yeah, the queen's going to attract in all kinds of people, right? But they don't all get access. So we got to wait and see, is this person willing to show up and build with us, right? Because we got to be able to trust, be vulnerable. So we're looking for synchronicities here. That's what we do when we work with the archetypes in general, right? We spend a week with the archetype and we look for synchronicities around it. Opportunities, expect opportunities. Expect opportunities to have boundaries. Accept opportunities to say no thank you, right? In a kind way, in a benevolent way. Own your authority, right? And if someone doesn't take no for an answer, they're not a safe person, right? If you sense they're a manipulator, you know, it's one thing to be teasing, have a teasing side, like be playful. Oh, come on, you know? But if someone doesn't take no for an answer, right? Like they're not respecting your boundaries and your assertion that, you know, this is a boundary for me, and they still push it, and you sense they're a manipulator, that's not someone that you can share trust with, is it? Because someone that you share trust with honors your limits, honors them, right? And can love you and be with you when you're confident, you're feeling great about yourself, and also those moments of vulnerability, right? See how the man in this picture is turned and he's really not engaged and kind of bored of the feminine. And this feminine is not in her power, right? She is leaning in. She is kind of not respecting his boundary either, right? Not honoring his limit. He doesn't look very engaged. She doesn't look very willing. He looks a little disturbed. And she keeps going for it. So maybe there is something about boundaries here. Respecting and acknowledging others' no's and not trying to covertly manipulate, right? Or trick them or play games to get them interested, but to honor that, right? And then also being completely transparent when it's a no for you. That can be feel very respectful, right? I have a friend who was recently rejected by somebody, but he didn't experience it as a rejection because the person was vulnerable about it, right? This person's like, said, you know, I really enjoyed being with you, and I was really appreciating the beauty of your male form when we were together and sharing intimacy. But honestly, I see myself ending up with a woman. And so I don't see it working out long term. My friends felt so respected by that you're not wasting my time, right? And you're admitting, I don't feel like I can build with you, that I don't see a future for us. And instead of feeling like that heart-to-heart conversation actually made him feel more confident. Like this person trusted him to receive that no and still be friends. So it was beautiful. And then teachers coming up. What have you learned from past experiences? And what can you learn from the Queen archetype? That confidence. What are you confident about? Can you take stock of those things that you really like about yourself, that you feel confident about, and remind yourself, right? Do some kind of practice where you appreciate yourself. You show gratitude for who you are, what you've come through, what you've learned, what you've refined as a person. And maybe finding a mentor, right? Who has this royal, this regal feminine energy that you really look up to and admire. And because you're admiring it, it means you're not owning it fully. So we can work with someone outside of us to integrate further. So is there a woman who you think, wow, I wish I was like her, or I'd love to embody that amount of confidence, or feminine mystery, or poise, whatever it is, right? Or discernment, or boundaries, or charm, right? Whatever it is that you sort of admire, can you use them as a mentor, whether you know them or not, and integrate some of that for yourself and say, wow, well, I own that because I'm able to acknowledge it. So the part of me that is capable of showing up that way is actually seeing it outside of me, but I'm going to integrate that this week. Also, the fertility card is coming up. So maybe this is something you're creating in the world, and maybe this is actually about fertility. If you're a woman who is in her fertile years, maybe you're being called to take stellar care of yourself physically right now, right? Maybe that's part of the self-respect and treating your body as a priority, right? Prioritizing your health. Out of self-care, right? In the name of self-care. In the name of self-care, let's go to the Rider Tarot deck and see if there's any more information that wants to come up about the Queen. Owning that inner queen. About a peaceful getaway or retreat, vacation. Taking care of our body. Finding someone to build with, right? Being clear with yourself Is that what I want right now? If that's what you want, be discerning. Is this person another builder? And maybe or maybe am I unconsciously seeking something that's just casual, no pressure, but when it actually shows up, feeling weird about it, not really owning that's what I want. Just a few cards. Okay, so we got the six of Pentacles, right? This can be a card about charity, about balance, bringing balance in a situation, or an imbalance that's being balanced. This can be about, see the crumbs? This can be about people breadcrumbing to keep us interested, right? And maybe they sense that we are this queen, but the way they respond and react is, well, I'm not good enough, so I can't fully engage or let you see me fully, right? I can't have this vulnerable heart to heart. In fact, I'm going to discourage that, and I'm going to be distant and create some mystery so that I seem more interesting than I am, right? So I'm going to use these tactics. This can also be the benevolence of the queen, doing charity, giving back, right? From an excess, not giving more than we have to give, making sure our needs are cared for first, and discerning who we can trust. There's a castle in the background. So that could be also about the holiday card coming up, right? As we leave the kingdom. Or at least the castle, right? Leaving the castle. Maybe that's part of this finding another builder. Got to leave the castle, right? Got to start going out and to public. There's also something about refinement. 8 of Pentacles is coming up. Hard at work, refining our craft, refining our skill. Maybe that's part of building confidence, that we really refine some skills here. We feel very confident and pride. We feel pride in something we've achieved, something we've accomplished, something we've refined, right? Our craft. Maybe it is creative, a creative project we've crafted. We've been hard at work. So we got the 4 of Swords. The 4 of Swords is about retreat from battle. In meditation, taking a rest, right? Centering. As the hands are in prayer position, centering, meditating. This is actually a soldier lying on top of a coffin. That coffin could have been for him, right? It's in a church, but he survived. So he's resting. He's resting. At some point, he might decide to pick up that sword and go back out, but he's taking a rest, maybe even praying. So it's about resting, building up the resources again, you know, stores of vitality, giving to self, connecting to divine. And then bottom of the deck, we got the Queen of Pentacles. So Queen's showing up here. Queen of Pentacles, right? This is a stable queen, resourceful, abundant, has her finances together. This might be her offering to the world, right? Something substantial to give. Maybe it's also about like, I can only kind of give crumbs here because I'm pretty used up here. You know, I've been hard at work on my craft. I've been being very productive, but I just don't have a lot to give. So you know what, I'm going to take a rest, right? I'm going to recoup. I'm going to rejuvenate myself so I can be the queen, the nurturing queen, the kind, benevolent, nurturing queen that I am made to be, but I got to rest up first, right? That might be what we're seeing here. Let's pull a crystal card and see what crystal. These are from Healing Crystals. We got malachite. Malachite came up in the last reading. This is from the Animal Totem deck, Animal Totem crystal deck. We got butterfly and malachite. Transformation, introspection, and rebirth. Introspection, right? Going inside, filling up the stores. And malachite is can bring about emotional transformation. We can heal, it can support us in our healing process emotionally, right? Healing from emotional trauma, releasing emotional baggage, digesting and processing emotions, right? That are stored in the system for a new beginning. And of course, a butterfly symbolizes the journey, transformation, brand new self. Going from minor arcana, well, the Queen's a minor arcana too, but going from the Six of Pentacles, upgrading to the Eight of Pentacles, right? So that might have taken a lot of effort. So we needed a little rest, respite, and fully upgrading and transforming into the Queen of Pentacles. So we can see, right, a progression here. Progression. Through this process of processing our emotions, emotional release, clearing out emotional trauma that might be taking up a lot of our energy so that we only have so much to give. Maybe we're balancing that out. Justice for ourselves, right? Owning the inner queen so that we take our boundaries seriously and we discern who we let in, right? Discerning who we are vulnerable with and who we open up to. Let's see what essential oil from the Essential Oil Oracle deck by Lisa Powers wants to lend its aroma as we empower ourselves, getting in touch and integrating that inner queen. Birch. Birch, the keyword is foundation. The trigger statement is I am rejected. Are you feeling rejection? Right? Is that why it's hard to own the inner queen? Are you feeling a rejection right now? The true statement is I am accepted. Are you accepting that aspect of yourself, right? Are you able to accept those insecurities so that you feel at ease in social interaction, in relationship, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not going to pretend to be confident in every area, right? Because that means there are times where we can't be present if we can't accept. You have the strength to stand firm in your decision. Honor your feelings and pursue the path you are feeling called to. So taking yourself seriously and therefore your boundaries seriously. People, surround yourself with people that can take a no and honor that, honor your limits, and that are willing to say no, that are also willing to have boundaries with you and have these conversations. Like, hey, when this happened, it didn't work for me because of this. Or, hey, I'm not really looking for a relationship right now. I just want to be crystal clear with you, you know? Maybe we're better as friends, right? They're emotionally mature enough to be able to have these conversations. And if there's parts of us that are traumatized and stuck, we might regress and not be able to show up in those situations ourselves. So also owning that in ourselves. And birch is the oil of support. So it's great if you're feeling unsupported, right? If you're just giving and giving and feeling like you're not able to receive that support, birch might be helpful. It helps you feel firm, resolute, gives you a sense of strength, groundedness, connectedness, and reception, ability to receive, right? Like a queen, like the queen that you got inside there. Maybe you just need to own a little bit more, or put some of the entitlement in check, right? Or some of the shadow attributes of arrogance, right? When you're challenged, those attempts to control, right? And be demanding of others, putting that in check. Let's go to Life Loves You. The Life Loves You cards by Louise Hay and Robert Holden, and see what card wants to end this reading. Just one. Sometimes I got to be specific. They all want to come out and let us know. Just one card to leave us with this intuitive session about integrating the queen, owning our limitations, owning our boundaries so that we can accept and honor those of others, discern who is trustworthy, have this emotional release and transformation, ending a cycle so that we can birth this creative project, or get more in touch with that feminine power. That power of a queen to birth something in this world, right? What's our purpose? What do we bring in? Can we lay the foundation? Can we find a mentor who's already kind of owning it, that we look up to, that we admire, so we can integrate that for ourselves? One last card. I am willing to love myself. Look in the mirror and say to yourself, I love you. I really love you. Don't be shy. It's just another way of saying life loves you. Life loves you. Right? I am willing to love myself. Right? I'm willing to take a rest. I don't need to be productive to prove I'm worthy. Right? Is that something that's happening? I don't need to overgive. I need another builder if I'm going to create a connection. My confidence, as well as my acceptance of my insecurities and vulnerabilities, is what makes me so attractive. I don't need to be perfect, right? I don't expect perfection in others either. So I'm going to be looking for synchronicities this week, right? Do dolphins say something to you? Dolphins can be very supportive as well. Speaking of support, birch. They can be supportive, but they're also very competitive in the wild, right? So a healthy sense of competition can get us working and more productive. But we need to also be discerning about who's here to support and not usurp our power, right? Who honors our no's, who honors our limits and boundaries. That's who we trust. We got to be more discerning about that, and also put in check those shadow attributes of entitlement, right? I am willing to love myself. All of you, right? No cherry picking here. I can see all of myself. Yeah, I really love these qualities. Not so much in love with these other things, but I accept them and I love them because they're part of the whole, right? And life loves me, right? I hope this was helpful, informative, supportive, and healing for you. Let me know in the comments how it resonated. Does this speak to you? Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Click the notification bell to receive notifications and be able to participate in the premiere of these videos. Thank you for sharing with anyone it might resonate with, who might want to integrate this aspect, right? This queen archetype. And if you want to work one-on-one, have a reading, a personal reading, a personal intuitive session, or I also do work with the subconscious. Check out my services. I'll link them in the description. Other opportunities to connect on other social media platforms will also be there. My Amazon store, where you can purchase any of these products, any of the card decks, sound healing tools, anything like that. There are different idea lists there. So I hope you feel supported. Much love to you, and integrating this very royal aspect of yourself this week. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye, empath.